be honest with you. I'm not really sure what to make of the Warriors right now. I'm really not. They're okay. I don't think they're anything great. I don't think they're anything terrible, but they've been all right.
That is, wow.
They've been all right.
Okay. What?
I think people think they've been better than they have been.
Well, they're 5-2, 4-1 on the road, 4-0 up until last night's loss.
Right, and that's what I want to talk about. Because the 49ers were 5-0. And
I'll never forget. I crowned them.
We glossed over the Rams, who gave them a good half of football. We glossed over some Giants stuff. They hung in there. Well, okay. The Warriors are 5-2.
Yeah.
They won 2 games at the buzzer.
No doubt about it.
Like, they've won 2 games at the buzzer.
Yeah.
So they get wins for those. They're 5-2. But that's the kind of thing that I don't just say, a win is a win is a win is a win. No, they're 5-2, and they won 2 games at the buzzer, and those things sometimes have a tendency to even out over the course of a year.
Steiny, this is why we don't come in here pre-rehearsed. We know what we're talking about, but I thought I was going to be the one to bring this up, and then you fight me on the overall, their record. And I will say this, and I'm going back to Friday because that was an amazing game. The Steph Curry game winner, as we talked about it last week, but last night to me, and every game is not going to be against a front court like the Cavaliers have, but that's my kryptonite for this team and why I told you guys at the summit I didn't know if they could win it, because size does matter. And last night, Steiny, Cleveland controlled the paint. The Warriors had 24 points in the paint to Cleveland's 58. Then, when we talk about the birth certificate, I'm watching OKC. They got outsmarted. And I don't want to – the Warriors closed that game, but they're smart with Chris Paul. The IQ has gone through the roof. But sometimes, Steiny, you're going to need youth. You're going to need to be able to go get a bucket. And right now, Chris Paul is doing everything you wanted to besides shoot the ball. But last night, only 4 guys in double figures. And I don't know how much Friday night took out of their legs. No excuses. But I do worry about the Sac game without De'Aaron Fox, to where Sac could have won that game and what you needed to beat OKC. But they're finding out who they are. Steve Kerr said he's tinkering with all these different lineups. So, partner, through 7 games, they're 5-2. I'll take it. But I am with you. There are some teams, Denver, who we'll see them play this week, to where I feel like the Warriors are at a size disadvantage. So we'll see how this plays out. But 5-2, Steiny, I'll take it.
Yeah, there's going to be those games like last night where they just look small. And last night was one of those games. To me, there's 2 issues with being small. So Steve Kerr was talking about how they seemed skittish around the rim.
I heard that.
He was talking about them offensively. So I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors and think about their front court. They got Looney, they got Saric, and they got Draymond Green. Those guys can't score inside.
Oh, man.
Or they're not finishers at all. And they're going to tend to get swallowed up.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, size does give them trouble. So I see that as a problem that's going to have to be figured out at some point along the line, because they're susceptible to their big men not scoring. If they're going to score at the basket, it's probably going to be on drives and backdoor cuts as opposed to follow-ups and post-ups down there and just scoring off a bigger, stronger, taller team. They just don't have a lot of finishers.
No doubt about it. And what about this? Friday night's game, I felt like it was the older guys at the YMCA against the younger guys and the OKC. And that was a game Looney, maybe they didn't need Looney. They needed scoring. They needed to go up and down. But when you're telling me the Warriors won big, or their guy that can affect the game is Kevon Looney, who I love, he played 11 minutes against OKC last night, Steiny. You need him. I would think you need him to offset that size disadvantage. He plays 15 minutes. So to me, I know he's not Amari Stoudemire, but I don't know what Kerr is working on. He says he's in the lab, but if you're going to take him off the floor, then those guys are going to eat like they did. And my goodness, Mobley and even LeBron's old friend was having an impact, Tristan Thompson. So I am scared when you look at this, the makeup of the team from a totality standpoint of, okay, our three bigs are not finishers. And I love what Draymond is doing, Steiny, offensively. Yesterday, 18 points, 2 3-pointers, 3 straight games. And I'm not saying that's fool's gold, but you text me Friday, we text about, man, if Drake could get some moves around the bucket. There's some shots that he's just not comfortable with. So they do need a dog down low that's going to finish.
Well, they don't have one. They never have.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to get one, so they're going to have to work around it. But the one thing that I'm looking at with this team in terms of their size and their defensive ability, I mean, they just don't have guys who score in the front court near the basket. And look, if you're going to complain about Looney, not complain, but if you're going to wonder why Looney only plays 15 minutes, well, you got Looney, you got Draymond Green. You want to play Gary Payton II?
No, I want to play the rookie, Steiny, who got in. I'd like to see more of him, Jackson Davis.
You can't.
Why?
Because he's 1 for 5 from the line. He can't make a foul shot. That's a killer.
Yeah, no, I saw it come off his hand. I was like, oh boy,
did he do some nice? Did he do some nice things? Yeah, he did. But that's the point. I mean, you really want a rookie, a second-round rookie who's going to start playing in crunch time.
Yeah.
But the problem the Warriors have, and it's the same kind of issue they had last year, is they don't have enough two-way players. Like Looney's a defensive player for the most part.
Draymond too.
Draymond Green, defensive player. Gary Payton II's a defensive player. And right now with Chris Paul not scoring, you can't have 2-3 non-scorers on the floor. Like you can't have Chris Paul, Looney, and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
At least right now with Chris Paul.
And and Chris Paul, when we talk about, just real quick, Steiny, when we talk about the pace of the game and his impact and control, and I know the game. I know he's doing that. But I told you when he came into town, there's going to be some games to where it's going to be on him because the team is not scoring. And right now, 31.8% from the field and 2 of 23 early on from 3.
Yeah, he can't make a shot right now. Can't make a shot.
And the bench was 2 of 20 in the first half from the field last night. And again, they've been the big reason that they've won a lot of these games. But 5-2, I'm with you, Steiny. You got Detroit tonight. I'm not going out on a limb. Oh, they're going to win by 30. I expect them to handle business. But I got to be honest with you. I was more concerned watching OKC run up and down Friday night. That defense, that's what has me like, oh, boy, this is what we're talking about. Can you defend? They won the game now, but, man, OKC, and then you could tip your cap and say they just made every damn shot that they took. But, man, Steiny.
A couple other things I was thinking about watching last night's game, and, I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but we always look at Steph and just marvel at his greatness and his durability. I do think there's something going on with the turnovers.
Now, when you say something going on, can you elaborate?
Well, he got stripped twice last night.
Who got him one time you mentioned? D-Wade?
Dwayne Wade. Right. And then I think LeVert got him another time. Yeah. But, he's
13 in the last 2 games.
He's I don't know. He seems to be.
Is it fatigue related?
No, I think it's more like a quickness, like you were the guy who said watching Iguodala last year, you lose your balance a little bit more when you get a little bit older. And I don't know. I just didn't like a few of those turnovers in the last 3 games.
But again, and I know you're not going here, he had 28 last night and won you the game. Yeah, no doubt. And won you the game in OKC with a beautiful, you know how tough that shot was Friday night. And I don't think I've ever seen a game where a game winner had to be delayed for them to go to review it.
It
was beautiful.
He had 7 turnovers against the Kings. Then he had 3 against OKC. And he's not handling the ball as much either. That's the other weird thing. If you're putting the ball in his hands a lot and saying, go play one, I could see it, but I don't know. Something to keep an eye on.